What are you letting go of before you continue into 2025? Are you aware and are you prepared to make the necessary decisions and changes in order to let go of the things that no longer serve you in order for you to step into the life that you want to live? You might say yes, but your patterns might show otherwise. And that's what I learned about myself. In my healing journey, I realized that the biggest thing that I've been struggling with has been letting go of negativity. Negative patterns, negative mindsets, and negative habits. And it has kept me in a repetitive cycle because I've been half assing the work that I know that I need to do. Today's question that needs answered is, why, when you have 20 minutes to get somewhere and you leave exactly in enough time to get there in 20 minutes, you end up being 20 minutes late? Is the GPS lying? I recently went to Miami with my grandma and my brothers, and I swear to you that the GPS was telling us that it was going to get somewhere at a certain time, and it took us forever to get there. It felt like we were driving forever, like for hours, and I just couldn't understand what was happening. Like, I don't know. So if anyone has the answer to that question, please let me know. This is Fully Loving Yourself. My name is Sonia Star J. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. So I think that I'm finally getting the hang of like the podcast setup, hooking it up to my computer and not hooking the podcast mic up to my camera, which is what I was doing before. And I think that's why I was getting like that staticky noise. So let me know if this is any better for those of you who have been watching and been following along this journey. So this week's lesson is that there are deeper things that we are holding on to that we need to let go of in order to truly thrive in all areas of our lives. Today's topic is going to be things to let go of to thrive in 2025. I realized last year that I was dealing with a lot of emotional baggage, like a lot of stuff that I needed to let go of, my grudges, guilt, anger, sadness. Like, let my husband tell it. My husband will tell you, I could hold a grudge, honey. Like, hold it tight in my grips. And the more I learn about like our healing journeys and our health and wellness and just how our emotional state of mind and our mindset really impacts our health, it became evident to me that I needed to really work on letting go of the things that I've been holding on to. So, our quote of the day is, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. And that is from, let me get it, Semisonic in the song Closing Time. So today I want to talk about things that we need to let go of. And it can get deep, you know? It can get deep, especially with me. I'm a very sensitive and emotional person. And I think this is why I've struggled with letting things go so much. I struggled with feeling wronged by people and in situations, and I am like really big on that's not fair, that's not okay. Like, I'm very vocal about things like that, and I recognize that not everything in life is fair, right? But I just don't feel like people should get to treat you any kind of way. Like, I just don't. And it's hard for me to let go of things when I feel like I've been wronged. Like, if I go somewhere and I ask for some food and I pay for said food and I come home and my food isn't good. I feel wronged and I want to take the food back and I want a full refund. And I need you to understand that I spent my time and my money and my resources to get this food. You need to understand how this has impacted me. I recently had a former friend reach out to me after ghosting me for 2 years. They reached out to me to let me know, why they ghosted me and, everything. And I was just like, okay, thanks for that. However, you need to know exactly why what you did affected me. And you need to know it in avid detail, and I think I kind of scared them off. But I don't really care because, again, like I said, when things are right, they're right. When things are wrong, they're wrong. And when things are unfair, I got to let the people know. You can't just be going around treating people any type of way, And that is a hill that I'll stand on. But I do know that I have to work on that. I don't know how. Definitely going to talk to my therapist about this one. But we are actively working on letting go of emotional traumas. If you've been listening to my videos and podcasts, you know that I've been doing EMDR therapy to work on like some PTSD and things that I've been holding on to, some negative habits, some negative life experiences from childhood. Just working on clearing out that negative energy. I've also been using sound frequency healing to kind of clear out those blockages, and also journaling to clear some of that stuff out. So some of the things that I'm going to try to let go of in 2025 so that I can move forward with my life, so that I can thrive and live the best life that I should be living. I mean, my life is pretty good, but in order for me to get to the next level, I got to let some stuff go. And so one thing that I've been working on letting go of that I didn't really realize was something that I needed to work on letting go was survivor's guilt. This is something that's been like a newer phenomenon for me. Survivor's guilt is just like when you've gotten to a point and you feel bad for being able to get to that point. And I didn't really realize that was something that I was struggling with. But I think about like my journey of like being in foster care. I was in foster care from the ages of 14 to 24, so 10 years I was in foster care. People were like, oh, how are you in foster care so long? I signed myself back in to a program and they let me stay until I was 24. And that was a very transformative period of my life. And why I struggled with survivor's guilt is because I've seen so many of my peers who were also in foster care who did not get afforded the same opportunities as me, and their lives turned out very differently than mine did. Like, I went away to college, I graduated college, I got a good job, got married, all of the things that I got, the life that you would normally get. Like, and so when I would be in programs or when people would learn I would be in foster care, they're just like, oh, you were in foster care? Because they have this expectation of people who've been in foster care to not really have like a good, I don't know, life or just like a good personality or whatever it is that they're not expecting. I was always held to a different standard in like my groups. And I have one other friend, I call her my cousin, her name is Ivory. She also has dealt with this too. She actually invited me to sit on a panel to talk about survivor's guilt last year and how it really impacts you, because you want to reach back and you want to help people and you want to do what you can for the people you feel like, not that you surpassed or left behind, but like kinda, And now that I sit and I think about it, maybe me becoming a foster care social worker was rooted in my survivor's guilt because I wanted to give back because I had made it so far. Like, part of it was I want to be an example to show other youth who've been in foster care or who in foster care that it's possible, but also during that period of time when I was a foster care social worker, it was hard for me to show up as my full self because I never wanted them to look at me as if I felt like I was better than. I didn't really get dressed up. I didn't really like do my hair, and I really didn't show up as my full self because I didn't want them to feel like, oh, who she thinks she is. You know, like, oh, you was in foster care, so what you trying to say? You know, like, if their situation wasn't something that they could get out of, I just didn't want to be perceived as somebody who wasn't relatable, maybe. And I think I kind of just made that connection, but yeah, it's just that having friendships that I grew up with people who, you know, experience hardships and traumas and mental health stuff, and I left home and I have been able to create this life for myself, and oftentimes I feel bad for it. I feel guilty. Not like guilty like I did something wrong, but like just the guilt of like, dang, this should be us. Or, you know, like, I just never wanted anybody to feel like I was trying to be better than, or, you know, people would treat me like that. And so I always kind of dimmed myself down. I kind of dimmed my own light so that people didn't feel insecure or inferior around me. Because I've had people say stuff like that to me. Like, oh, I don't hang around you because you make me feel insecure because I haven't done this or I can't do this. And it's like, that's not my fault. But I didn't realize it at that point. At that point in time, I just was like, okay, I'll be better. You know, I don't want you to feel like you have to be anything other than yourself around me. And at that point in time, as I was developing and learning and growing, I didn't realize that was a personal thing. They had to deal with that. That wasn't on me, you know? And so I'm still working through that. I'm still working on letting go of the guilt of making it. There was a point in time where me and my brother, we weren't as close as we are now. And when I moved away from home, I was like, nobody ever comes to see me. Like, why don't nobody come and visit me? And my brother was like, nobody told you to leave. You made a decision. You can't be mad at us because we don't come to see you. Nobody told you to leave. And I was like, well, damn. You know? Like, I mean, you could come out here and see, you know, what it's like. You can come, you know, pay me a visit. That hurt my feelings, you know? But that was also maybe a bit on his part, not jealousy, but a little bit of something, because I quote unquote made it out, you know. But they also have their own situation where it's like they made it out too. And it's like when you reach a level of success that the majority of people in your circle have not reached, they can subconsciously make you feel a way about it, you know. And if you are a person who cares, like I do, like, you know, okay, cool. If you are a person that cares about stuff like that, then it's hard to kind of move past. And I have been trying to move past it. Like, oh, I just want you to love me. So let me be on your level. Let me stay on your level so that it doesn't look as if I'm trying to be somebody else. And that I was keeping myself boxed in and not allowing myself to reach my full potential for so many different reasons. Like, that's so much to unpack for me, but it's important for me to say, and it's important for somebody else to hear, because you might be in a situation where you're the first person in your family to go to college, or you're the first person in your family to become a doctor, and everybody's looking towards you like, who you think you is, you know. And it can be hurtful to, you know, have the people that you love look at you a certain way. That's, you know, and you're like, dang, I did everything that I was told to do. I did everything that I was supposed to do. And here y'all are treating me funny, you know? And it's hard to move past. But that is something that I'm going to continue to work on this year, is to let go of the guilt. Because in the book that I'm reading, The Secret Languages of Your Body, I think that's the one that mentions it, about guilt and judgment. Well, I think I heard somewhere, like when you judge other people, you hold on to the guilt. I think I was listening to like a meditation or something, a video that I found on YouTube. When you judge other people, you are left with the guilt of that. I don't know how that applies to me, but it's something that I heard. But referring to the guilt part of it, when we deal with guilt and we hold on to the guilt, it lives in our body. You know, we have to learn to let go of that in order to get to that next step, because we will never allow ourselves to get to the next step. We won't allow ourselves to fulfill our greatest potential if we continue to allow ourselves to be small to appease other people. It won't happen. And so the next thing that I'm working to let go of in 2025 is shame. Shame around a lot of things. A shame around my past, things that I did that I wasn't so proud of, that decisions that I made that I haven't been happy about, you know, things that I did when I didn't know any better, relationships that I allowed myself to be in, like, girl, you knew better. You know, there were times where I allowed people to make me feel less than, and my self-worth wasn't high. And I started to reflect on where that comes from and why I felt that shame. And there were so many instances in my childhood and development, when I was a teenager and when I was a child, where family said stuff to me that made me feel ashamed of my body, that made me feel ashamed of myself as a woman. Like, ooh, why you dressed like that? Why you looking like that? You know, like making me feel like being like a girly girl wasn't something to do. Or, you know, just instead of educating me, calling me names, or just making me feel ashamed of my cycle, making me feel ashamed of my body, making me feel ashamed of my sexuality and my femininity, to the point where I started dressing like a boy and, you know, acting like a boy, because I thought that if I did that, then I would be more accepted. I thought I was gay at one point. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that shame pushed me into that way of life when that wasn't who I truly was. And so I actually talked to my grandma while we were in Miami for New Year's, and she had told me that when my mom gave birth to me, actually, the day I was born, there was somebody there who was not happy. Not happy about me being born. They were really upset that I was born. And I recall when I went to go babysit for my friend in Houston last year, she had another friend who was there. And she said, you got to be careful what you say around the baby when they're in developmental stages, because even though they can't react to what you're saying, they can still hear what you're saying, and that will stick on them. You know, they can remember that stuff. And I have wondered, since having a conversation with my grandma, if feeling the shame of being born has been something that stuck with me. Imagine being a child and hearing that nobody wants you, that you are a mistake, that, you know, whoever it was, the person's not happy that you're here. That's you feel ashamed, you know, like, oh, you know, I'm not worth anything, I shouldn't be here. Or then you start to have to overcompensate you for your existence merely just because you exist. And so I think that that's also a lesson for us, to be careful how we talk around children, even from, you know, when they're in the womb, when they're born. Because if you're, talking about a child like, oh, I can't believe you had this baby, or I can't believe that you're doing this to your life. You're gonna mess up your life. You had this child, you're gonna mess up your life. Imagine how that makes that child feel. And they don't even realize that this is where the root of that stems from. I have been digging deep to try to figure out the root causes of my emotional trauma. On this journey of fabric healing, it's like, yeah, I always talk about like the diet part of it, but I'm very big on like the emotional healing journey of fabric healing, because that's where I struggle. And that's why I'm in therapy, because a lot of people will say that it's not worth it, to go through all the trouble and the stress of, trying to heal your body naturally. But it's so much more deeper than that for me, because on this healing journey, I have unpacked so much for myself that it's not just about me. This is about future generations that will come after me. Imagine I have a daughter and I'm dealing with shame and I'm dealing with guilt and I'm dealing with abandonment issues. And then I have this life growing inside of me and they feel all of these feelings, and then they're passed down those negative emotional experiences, that generational emotional trauma. I was doing a meditation one day with the book that I read, The Secret Languages of Your Body, and it gives you instructions on how to use color while you're meditating to heal. And so I was going through the prompts and everything that it tells you to do, and I had my hand on my womb and I was doing the affirmations, and I seen my mother's trauma. I seen my mother's trauma. I seen, like, it was like I was in the room with her when she was going through what she went through. Okay, so trigger warning. My mother was assaulted. My mother was also a teen mom. I was also assaulted, but was not a teen mom, because she made sure to prepare me for what could potentially happen. And they put me on birth control at like 13 because everybody was a teen mom. My mom, my grandmas, both my grandmas were teen moms. And both of their moms were also teen moms. And so they were like, we are not doing this. So I broke the cycle. No teen babies over here. And so when I seen that experience that she went through, that let me know that this healing ain't just for me. I'm healing for my mom, I'm healing for my grandmas, I'm healing for myself, I'm healing for my daughters, I'm healing for my granddaughters. This is bigger than me. And that's why I wanted to share this. And sometimes I get kind of nervous about how much to share. I've told y'all before, like, I struggle with being vulnerable. I struggle with putting myself out there and being perceived and being judged. Like, what are people going to think? What are people going to say? But this stuff is really important for me to share, because there's somebody else out there who is struggling with their emotional health. They're struggling with fibroids. They're struggling with other reproductive health issues. They're trying to figure out how to heal. And we really have to get to the root of our issues. And I struggled with abandonment real bad after my mom died. And so healing from that too has been a journey. It is a journey. And so those are just things that I know that I have to work on letting go of. And how I do that is just, now that I'm aware that these are emotions that I have to work through, I can tell myself new things, different things. You are worthy. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of being here. You are worthy of being accepted. And, all of those things I can now tell myself, knowing where it stemmed from. Something else that I need to let go of in order to thrive this year are habits that I know are holding me back, um, by getting the help that I need. And that's just asking for help. We being around my grandma again, I recognize how much of her personality I got, and we were doing something nice for her, and she just kept saying, "Oh, I'm gonna pay y'all back. I'm gonna do this." And I'm like, "Girl, ain't nobody asked you for nothing. Like, who told you that you needed to? Oh yeah, well I know that you know." And it's just like, allow people to do nice things for you, and allow yourself to be helped when you know you need the help. If somebody's offering help, take it, you know. Uh, and getting out of your own way. Uh, so habits that we know are holding us back, like therapy, therapy for sure. Some people are against therapy, and I think the reason why they're against therapy is because one, they may not have found the right therapist, or two, they might not be doing the right type of therapy. I've been dibbling and dabbling in different therapies. As y'all know, I said I'm in EMDR. I did CBT for 20 years. Now I also do massage therapy, somatic massage therapy. Now I'm doing the frequency sound healing therapy. Like, I'm into all of the different things because it's just so interesting to me that we have so many different ways that we can influence our bodies to heal and be better. I think it's amazing. And so that's really what my goal is to introduce the things to people as I'm learning them too, because I think it's pretty cool. And I think other people would think it was pretty cool too if they knew about it. Another thing that I for surely need to let go of is clothes that I don't need. Like, going through my closet, like, girl, you are never going to wear this. I bought this outfit, y'all, when I graduated college in 2014. I've never wore it, and I still got it in my closet. What am I waiting for? I don't know. Because it don't even look the same on me no more. I think I got it, and I didn't get the chance to wear it when I went to Vegas. And then I just kept it. And I gained weight, so I couldn't get into it. And I was just like, I'm going to just keep it just in case. I have moved to 3 different countries and still got this outfit. Why? I don't know. I need to get rid of it. I need to go through my closet and really let go of this stuff. Because all of the things that I know I need to get rid of, I moved to one side. I just ain't got rid of it. And it needs to happen. I gotta let go. Even though I have lost some weight now, I'm in a different space in my life as far as style. I'm not 24 anymore. I don't dress like I'm 24 anymore. And I'm on this journey of trying to find my personal style in my 30s. Just what makes me comfortable in my body. I don't necessarily feel good when I wear like super tight clothes anymore. Like, it just it's not giving to me. I want to feel comfortable without walking and have to pull down my dress every 5 seconds. Like, that's not comfortable for me. So I'm in the process of trying to learn what makes me feel good and what makes me feel womanly and feminine and cute and sexy and all those things. Something else that I'm going to be letting go of to thrive this year is being afraid of being seen, heard, or loved. I was in the hospital recently, and my husband had to work early in the morning. But he came to the hospital, and he sat there with me. And I just kept saying, I'm so sorry. He's like, what are you saying sorry for? You're my wife. And I'm like, yeah, but I know you got to work in the morning, and I'm so sorry that you're here. He's like, I chose to be here because I love you and I care about you. And in that moment, I realized that I'm struggling with some self-worth stuff. I deserve for people to show up for me. I deserve for somebody to care about my well-being. And I deserve to be loved in that way. And why don't I feel like that, you know? Why don't I feel like my husband should be by my side no matter what? I felt so bad. I'm like, oh, you gotta get up for work in the morning. He's like, girl, hush. Like, he was getting so irritated. But that's something that I need to work on. I have to stop being afraid of my own voice. Like, I'm real good at self advocacy, um, and speaking up for myself and speaking up for other people. But then there are certain times where I'll have something on my mind and I won't speak up and I won't say it, and it makes me anxious. And I'm like, girl, you should have just said what you needed to say. And I don't know why I stopped myself from doing that. But moving forward, I am going to stand strong in my convictions and speak up for myself when I got something on my mind. I've been getting better at it, and so I'm training that muscle of mine to just go ahead and speak up for yourself. Speak up for whoever it is, and just say what it is that you got to say. I'm doing it more at work, without the fear of retaliation, without the fear of rejection, without the fear of getting yelled at. I think that's also like a childhood trauma thing, because I did grow up in like a physically abusive home. I don't realize if they knew that that's what it was, but that's what it was. There were a lot of things that we experienced as children that we should not have experienced in the name of discipline. And that would be considered abuse right now in this day and age. And yeah, so, but I also, again, was raised by a young single mother. My mom was 15 when she got pregnant, 16 when she gave birth to me. So she was a kid herself. She was still trying to figure it out. She had what 5 kids, but by the time she was 28, I couldn't imagine having one kid right now, and I'm 34. So I just, there's so much to learn and so much to be taught at different stages of our lives. And so at that point in time, when I was a child, I was not handled correctly as far as being disciplined. And I recognized that. I noticed the differences because my husband and I were raised differently. You can just tell and how we were disciplined growing up. And his parents were much older than mine. So it's been really interesting to see how things kind of play out. But I know for a fact that the things that I went through were absolutely insane, and I didn't have to go through them. And I just know that my kids will never have to deal with that stuff. But it's not for the lack of love. Like, I know that I was loved, but the way that they shown love and discipline was just completely all wrong. It's like completely all wrong for children, small little children that you felt like you couldn't control, So that is definitely something that I'm working through. Now, another big thing that I'm going to be working through this year, and I have been working through the last couple years, is like my lack and scarcity mindset. I mentioned this before in another video. I went through a boot camp, like an emotional healing boot camp, back in 2023, and we really addressed like the different like chakras and stuff, and focusing on my root chakra and my sacral, which is like creativity, and the root chakra is around like security and stability and things like that, because I struggled with feeling safe and secure, but that's been stemming from my childhood. I don't want to say I grew up in poverty, but like kinda. Like, I lived on Section 8 with my mom, and then with my grandma, we bounced around a lot. Like, living with my mom and living with my grandma, we bounced around a lot. There were so many times where we were unhoused. I was unhoused for a period of time, like after I graduated from foster care. But maybe not unhoused. Maybe that's not the word. But we just didn't live somewhere. like, or we had multiple people living with us, or just like, going back and forth to different family members' houses. And there's that lack of stability and rooted in childhood, like my mom was living with her mom, then she went to go live with her grandma, then she went to go live in her own apartment, and then she moved again. It's just like that constant moving around as a child. It's that instability, and I never really allowed myself to get stable anywhere. And I've always felt like it's just rooted in me. I just like to travel. But also, maybe there's something deeper to that too, where when I start getting anxious, I have to move. Like, I have to get up and I have to book a flight somewhere. Like, I gotta go. That makes me feel comfortable. But traveling is really stressful, honestly. So there's just the security piece of it, but the lack and scarcity mindset, that really stems from my family too. Like, I'm sorry, y'all, but just the way that they talk about money and deal with money, it always made it feel like there wasn't enough. Like, the conversations around money, it just always made it feel like there was never enough to go around. We never had enough to do XYZ. It was always a complaint or a fight about money. And like, my husband's family, they're not like that. They're very generous people. And my family is very generous, but they're going to complain about it. And growing up, I didn't see it that way. It was just like, oh, I got to pay for this. Oh, I got to pay for that. And it's just like, the conversations were rooted in lack. Like, there's just not enough. And so I constantly find myself, like, even though I'm good, like, we're good, we have enough, it gets hard to kind of break out of that cycle of like when we was in Miami and I was like treating my grandma and stuff, I'm thinking in my head like, oh, I gotta make sure I do this, make sure I do that. And I'm just like, girl, relax. Like, you're literally fine. Like, you're literally okay. You do not gotta be stressing like this. But it's like an automatic default that my brain goes to that I'm trying to break out of. And I'm like journaling and meditating. Like my life is full of abundance. It truly is. And God has brought me through homelessness and Section 8 and EBT, and like, I'm okay. Like, I'm living a very good life right now, thanks to God and me taking opportunities to really like advance in my life and just to grow as a person. But there's something like deep down in the root of me that's just like, gotta make sure I'm okay. Gotta make sure, like, even though I am okay, it's just something that's really been a challenge for me. And so that's something that I'm working through in therapy. And so I bring that up because those two things, feeling a lack of security and safety, is an emotional root to fibroids. So might be something worth looking into if you're somebody who has dealt with that, or if you know somebody who has dealt with that. And also, like, being disconnected from your creativity is something else too, and I'm working on that as well. And that's my next point, is procrastination. This year I am letting go of procrastination. Back to my original question I need answered. Why is it that I look at the GPS and it says it takes me 20 minutes to get there? So I leave 20 minutes before I got to get there, and somehow I'm still late. But that's on me, because I need to learn to leave earlier, and I really be trying, y'all. Like, I work at a spa sometimes on the weekends just because I miss doing massage. And I be having to be there at 8:30 in the morning on a Saturday. And I'm just like, man, it's so early. I could literally get up at 7 o'clock in the morning to get there. It's only literally 20 minutes away. I could literally get up at 7 in the morning and prepare to get out the door and get there on time, and I will still be late. I do not know how I do this. I don't know. I feel like I deserve like an award for like most late procrastinating person. I know that's not like a cute award or anything, but I feel like if there was an award to go out for it, I probably would be in the running, that is something that I definitely need to work on. I don't know how to work on it though. So that is also going to be something that me and my therapist go off to work on, child, because It's not good. I'm like literally chronically late. And I be beating myself up because I'm like, girl, you literally had so much time. How are you still late? It's got to be like a sickness or something. Like, there really has to be something, something deeper to this. Like, yeah, that's the thing. Um, Another thing that I want to leave in the past, leave behind me so that I can thrive in this next coming year and beyond, is imposter syndrome. I have let imposter syndrome beat my ass, y'all. Like, I've let imposter syndrome get in the way of so much. Even with like my podcast, I got my podcast set up in July and I didn't start filming until November because I was like, oh, I don't have the lights, I don't have the setup, I don't have, a nice background, I don't have like, the studio set up, and I can't afford this and all of that. Well, not can't afford it, but I just didn't feel like I was at that point to where I needed to go rent out a studio. I got this. I'm good here, and it's a podcast. You listen to it, like even though it's visual, like you can see me. This is comfortable for me, and even when I do get like when I feel it's necessary to get like a big podcast set up where I'm inviting people, I still want to be in my pajamas with my pink mic. I told y'all the podcast was going to be called Her Pink Mic and Pajamas. It really was. And so I want my guests to come in their pajamas too. I want it to be a whole thing. So, but yeah, I definitely need to learn to not allow imposter syndrome to get in the way and tell me that I'm not good enough. Because when I see everybody else around me blowing up on social media and I'm just like, dang, what am I doing wrong? Am I boring? Am I ugly? Like I really be thinking that. Like, damn, what am I doing wrong? Do I not fit the demographic? Do I not fit the aesthetic? Am I not, funny enough? Am I not intelligent enough? Am I not saying the right things? It really gets to me sometimes. But I don't let it stop me. I don't know what I could be doing better. I've asked for feedback from people. I don't really have too many like content creators in my immediate group that I can be like, hey, can you go, check this out for me? I don't have that. So I rely on my audience to give me feedback, and I reach out to people on like threads, like, hey, somebody check out my channel. Nobody has done it yet. So I would love some feedback on, anything. If you are a content creator, please give me some tips. Thumbnails, like what is it? What is it that's holding me back? I would love to know. Or maybe it's just not my time yet, and I can 100% be okay with that. But I have spent the last 4 or 5 years watching people quite literally blow up, and I'm just like, well, damn, what am I doing wrong? Not that I would ever be a full-time content creator. There was a point in time where I thought I wanted to be a full-time content creator, and I quit my job, and I was just working part-time. Shout out to my husband. And I just was at home, and I was just like, yo, I'm so bored. And I'm just in the house by myself with me and my dog. And it's like I had hobbies and I was cooking, and I'm just like, this is I don't like this. I'm going back to work, and I like to travel, and so you need one to travel. So yeah, I don't know if the income from content creation is stable enough to appease me, but that's also because I'm not like a big content creator. I don't really know what I'm doing yet. Like, I'm still trying to find my way in this arena. I started in 2020 with really no plan. I just knew that I wanted to get on here and I wanted to teach. I wanted to help people. And I've created the digital products, and I have merch, and I have all of those things. And I had so much fun creating them. And then once I created them, I ain't really tell nobody about them. I don't market myself or sell the things that I have. I just had fun creating them. And I know that all of the things that I created could help somebody. And I don't know why I don't just like tell people about the stuff that I create. It's that imposter syndrome. Oh, what if they don't like it? What if they don't need it? I had sold like 10 copies of my self-awareness workbook from a video that I had go viral, and I overthought the entire process. Like, people were buying it, and I felt it necessary to go back and change it and update it so that it could be better, so that they can get more bang for their buck. And I have literally bought in courses and ebooks and guides from people for like $20, $40, and they did not give a whole lot of value. In my little $12 product, I was trying to jam pack with information. Like, that's what I do with all of my stuff. And I don't know if that's again a self-worth thing or just an imposter syndrome thing, because there's really people out here who are charging money for really nothing. And I'm just like, I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want nobody to buy my product or one of my courses or anything and be like, oh, this wasn't worth it. You know, like, I mean, people are going to say what they say, but I always want to make sure that I'm giving good value and not just like surface level BS. So maybe that's also perfectionism too. I do have that. I need to stop overthinking everything. I do. I gotta stop overthinking my content. I gotta stop overthinking my product. I gotta stop overthinking the process and just go with the flow. And I honestly think that me doing yoga is going to help with that. I'm really excited to get into my yoga practice this year, to kind of go with the flow. Yeah, those are all of the things that I'm going to be letting go of this year in order to thrive and have my best year that I can. You know, another thing too that I need to let go of, I need to let go of knowing the right things to do and not doing it. Like, I know in my head that this is the thing that'll get me to here. This is the thing that'll get me to where I want to be. Why not just do it? I gotta work through that. That is my last thing. Yeah, I really need to let go of that. Procrastination, we talked about that. That's a big one. I've considered getting on medication for my ADHD. I'm strongly considering it. When I was in the hospital, one of the nurses was talking to me about it, and I was like, maybe that might help. I'm not a fan, because I tried it. I tried ADHD or anxiety medication before, and I had a bad experience. But I don't know. Maybe I'll try it and see, if that'll help. I'm very pro natural healing and natural health. I haven't found anything that helps with ADHD. I'm gonna be honest. So if any of y'all listening, y'all got anything, please let me know, because I procrastinate real bad, and it's kind of messing up my life a little bit. So yeah, I would love to be able to work on that. Okay, so I think that is all that I got for y'all for today. And our affirmation of the week is, this week I release what no longer serves my highest good. I create space for peace, growth, and opportunities that align with my true purpose. That is all that I have for you today, loved ones. As always, be bold, be joyful, and always be fully loving yourself. And I'll catch you in the next video.